Welcome to the show, everybody. I want to remind each of you to like and subscribe. On YouTube, we are Film Talk Radio. Today, I am joined by local filmmaker Charine Pilar Gonzales. Her new film, Riverbank, will be playing at the Santa Fe International Film Fest. Charine, hey, hi, how are you?
Hey, doing well, Jack. Really excited for Santa Fe International Film Fest. It's coming up quick.
Yeah, and you had a documentary in the local program last year, is that right?
That's right, Arcuyo Maria Martinez. Yep.
So, how did you go from your first film being a short documentary to now making the jump to a narrative drama?
Yeah, I've always wanted to get into narrative fiction drama specifically. For me, it seemed like documentary was a little bit more of an accessible place to start in my career. But, to me, storytelling is storytelling. And I just really jump on projects that speak to me. And for Arcuyo Maria Martinez, it was my opportunity to talk about my great 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 grandmother, Maria Martinez, who is a world renowned pottery artist famous for reintroducing Black on Black pottery to San Ildefonso Pueblo. And I wanted to tell her story from my family's perspective. And then after Arcuyo Maria Martinez, kind of finished out its festival circuit, I had this script that I was really wanting to move forward with Riverbank. I wrote it, I guess, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And we had actually shot Riverbank during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it just took a long time to finish and post. So it's really awesome to be coming back to Santa Fe International Film Fest with Riverbank Pokege.
And Riverbank is about a fictitious bank during the 2008 banker bailout.
Well, Riverbank is actually about a table woman who's mesmerized by a world of money, and she must listen to the spirit of the river in order to set herself free. Yeah, so it's actually such a huge honor, to have Riverbank out into the world right now. It's like one of the I think it's the first narrative fiction film allowed to be filmed at San Ildefonso Pueblo since like the 1980s, which is that was a long time ago. And those were like Westerns and like such a different vibe than what I was going for. So yeah, really happy to be from the community and telling stories that I think resonates with my community too.
It's a crime drama, and I'm glad you brought up San Ildefonso Pueblo because location is such a big part of it, and you have some really beautiful shots of Powake, and I guess I know those views most from the golf course there. But tell me about who helped you with locations, and how did you find some of those places?
Well, I've grown up with the Black Mesa at Tuño. It's one of our sacred mountains. And being from San Ildefonso, like it's just such a beautiful place. Like just the people are beautiful, the location's beautiful. It was really a no-brainer for me that, to try to get permissions to film on the reservation. It was really Governor Merquino at San Ildefonso Pueblo that gave us the okay to film on our reservation lands during the pandemic. Um, but other than that, I just did local reaching out to saints and sinners. Ken Salazar over there, and we filmed in Espanola, San Ildefonso, and we also filmed at the Santa Fe Plaza too. So with that, it was like a huge learning experience, like getting the permits and figuring out insurance, and like I feel like this was really kind of like my narrative fiction debut. So yeah, really proud of it.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and where you come from. You touched on it a bit, but there's much more. So please start from the beginning if you can.
Sure. Well, Nabi Tewa Kongwe Kunyopovi Hida, Powoki Owenge. My name is Charine Pilar Gonzales, and I'm from San Ildefonso Pueblo. I'm currently calling in from Santa Fe, New Mexico here, also traditionally known as Ogapoge, which is White Shell Water Place. About me. Well, Jacques, I guess like I have to, so it's awesome to be doing this interview today and talking about Riverbank, because I think I've grown up so much like with this film. I'm currently an MFA student at IIA in the creative writing genre of screenwriting. So really excited to be continuing my education at IIA. It's like such an incredible school, a tribal college too. So it's just like such a amazing like community there too. I guess like a little bit more about myself. I'm also a Sundance Institute Indigenous Program alumni. I've done a few fellowships with Sundance. They've really been there from the beginning of my film career. And I've also done like a TV Writers Lab with LA Skins Fest. So yeah, I've been trying to really build up my skills in hopes to really expand my career, especially now since the writer strike has come to a really excellent resolution. So yeah, looking forward to branching more into the TV writing world as well.
There's so much there, and I know you're being so modest. You mentioned you just had a birthday. How old,
I'm
if I may
28.
ask?
I'm 28 years old.
Yeah, and I've known you for quite some time now, so it's been great to see you really hone your skills, be able to really come out with new work, and then I think it's important when you take the time to do these labs, since you make great connections and it puts that under your belt as part of where you come from as a filmmaker. Who is El Chuche? Is it
Oh,
Chucho?
El Chuco.
El Chuco.
El Chuco, we've actually known each other since middle school, if you can believe it or not. He's a really fantastic artist. He also raps and like creates his own beats. And um he was really down, so to make this film and also be the antagonist, which I'm very grateful for. He's really just such a sweet person and yeah, also very just like um humble too. He's a very humble guy. Chuko's awesome.
And he's pretty scary in the movie. Plus, he really falls into that role nicely. Did you consider anybody else, or was he always the person you wanted to play the young man in the film?
Yeah, well, I don't know if Chuko actually knows this, but like when I was writing it, I definitely was picturing Chuko as like he has to play this character. His character's name's Juanito. We don't actually ever hear his name, but that, Chuko plays Juanito in Riverbank. Mhm.
What about the young lady who plays the lead? How did you find her?
Yeah, well, we had a casting call and Jacques, actually, I just to back up a little bit, like we were supposed to film Riverbank the week that New Mexico shut down for the COVID-19 pandemic. So literally like a couple days before COVID really shut everything down for New Mexico, we had a casting call. We held it at IIA. And we had like a really awesome number of people come out, but I always knew that I wanted the protagonist to be a Tewa woman, specifically from San Ildefonso Pueblo, because that's really who this story is for. And yeah, Helena Pena, she's actually also my cousin. So, she actually wasn't able to come in for the in-person audition. So we actually did a virtual audition and her energy was just so great. And also very grateful that she was willing to stay on the project, even though we had to postpone production for a year.
Yeah, and she was just wonderful, and she's in traditional dress in the movie. Tell me more about that if you can.
Yeah, so for me, I consider her character as a grieving character, really dealing with a lot of trauma. And for me, when the river helps her out, she dips her hands into the river and blesses herself. I really wanted to show like our inner feelings as Tewa people. And I felt like the best way to do that was to show us in our traditional wear too, in a very respectful way. Um, and I always just feel like so powerful wearing my traditional clothes, my Indian clothes, and I felt like this had to be a part of the film. Like I haven't seen a lot of Pueblo people in narrative fiction, and I was just like, let's do this. Like it's time. I think it's a mixture of like life experience, but then also just like knowing the history of my people and just where we are today in the world and like just like politically and just like it's a amazing time to be a native filmmaker, TV writer. Like I really resonate with, Reservation Dogs. Like I've multiple friends that worked on that show and I just see so much power in like taking control of our narratives and saying the things that we want to say and talk about some of the things that maybe we've been shunned to like not talk about, and kind of start that healing process. And I think there's multiple avenues to do that through like drama and comedy. Like I Riverbank's a more serious film, but I'm really excited for like the future of my work too, because I plan on focusing a little bit more on like the comedy side of things. But I come from 6 generations of San Ildefonso Pueblo pottery artists. So I'm the first in my family to utilize storytelling through word and film as a format. And one thing that we always say when we're working with clay is like we think good thoughts so that our pottery reflects that goodness too. And I think large part of my family working with pottery too is also that respect for like the circle of life, and knowing that one day we will also return to the clay and the earth. So that is also a big theme of Riverbank as well. um and Riverbank really like stemmed from the grief of losing my younger brother, Tyler Gonzales. He was 19 years old. And really leaning into my Tewa traditions to get through the grief. And of course, it still pops up here and there. I mean, it's really hard when we lose such close loved ones, but I really think that Tyler was really with me throughout this process, and I know that he'd be really proud of this film too.
And Tyler Gonzales is who you dedicated Riverbank to. I noticed in the credits there was a dedication.
Yeah, I say something about like, for my little brother Tyler. And he was also a really fantastic writer too. So it is really interesting for me to kind of like enter into that creative writing space, the screenwriting space, really more so after he passed too. So I think like even just in general, like my writing is in dedication to Tyler.
So, do you want to say anything about him? He died tragically and young, and what was your and Tyler's relationship like while he was alive?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we had such a fun relationship, but we also fought a lot because we're siblings. We were 18 months apart in age. So, we were always really close in school, and, just also kind of navigating just like our home life too. Like I come from like divorced parents too, so like we navigated a lot of like those really hard moments in life together too. But he was in the US military too. So, I'm always so grateful for him and his service.
So, in this film and in the process making it, you run into some pretty challenging obstacles. Production's being shut down completely right when you're about to start shooting, and so much more. What about help along the way? While there were those barriers, were there at the same time helpers?
Yeah, I it's so hard for me to truly list everyone. My whole family was truly a part of this process, which I guess, before I get into that a little bit more about like, those people that were really there to pick me up, I just want to mention too that my grandmother, my Saya, Barbara Gonzalez, also plays the grandmother figure in this film. Very multi-talented woman. I'm always in awe of everything she does and teaches us. But I as far as people that were there to like help me through it all, I mean, Ashley Browning of Santa Clara Pueblo, she's also an incredible producer. She's also a producer on Riverbank. I mean, all the producers were really truly helpful, like including Roselle Benali, Shondine Tome, Jane Myers, Jess Snow. Yeah, just so grateful for the team that we built and that we were able to navigate COVID. I mean, like, who thinks that you're gonna like have to navigate a pandemic? Like, and this is my first like big my well, it's a short film, but to me it was my first big project. I think, in some ways though, I also accepted that, maybe it was a little bit of a blessing to wait. So that we could focus on our community's health. And, of course, Sanai shut down to the public too. So there was a lot we had to focus on at home. And Riverbank needed to wait a little longer. But I'm so grateful that it's here now.
Well, and your grandmother does a great job in the movie. Is there any more you can say about her? What was she like as a grandmother, and then what is it like directing your own grandmother, who I'm sure has no doesn't want to hear what to do from her granddaughter one bit.
Yeah, I always try to, carry a lot of humility with me when I speak to my elders. And I think for me, I was just like, Saya, I really I really need your help. Can you please play the grandmother figure? But yeah, my grandma was great. She really like was just great on set, and all she had her suggestions too, which I think were also helpful.
Now, do you have some favorite directors and some influences that you're kind of hoping, oh, I'd like to be able to do it like this person?
Oh my God. So many. I mean, Tasba Chavez, incredible, amazing writer, director, producer. Sydney Freeland, another incredible, strong woman, director. I mean, even Shondine Tome and Rizal Benali, like these women that I had on my set too, just like I met a lot of these people through the Sundance Indigenous program. So I just feel like so incredibly like grateful to be a part of this Native film world. It's a small world, but I think we're very strong.
Yeah, I think you are certainly making your place in it and making a name for yourself. So I'm really proud of that. Now, you have a whole list of producers. You mentioned some of them. What is it like working with that many producers? They're not all on the set telling you what to do at the same time, I'm guessing. What kind of roles do they play, and how were you so successful in gaining such talent for it?
Honestly, we've all worked together on other projects. I've worked on their sets for their short films. Um, but like you said, not all the producers were there on set. A lot of the producers helped in pre-production. Jane Myers was like so helpful in giving me the confidence to move forward with Riverbank too. And Jane Myers is also a producer of Prey in the Predator series. And Jane actually had a very good excuse for not being on set because Jane had to go to Canada and film Prey. So it was there was like so many circles moving around this set too. And of course, Rizal Benali was so helpful and giving me notes on how to go about that. Because Rizal's very knowledgeable when it comes to that too. And of course, like Ashley Browning and Shondine Tome were there on set as well, and just so incredibly helpful in post production. Shondine actually also helped me edit Riverbank. And Ashley has just always been there as like an incredible emotional support.
Yeah, Rizal Benali and Shondine Tome have both won short film awards at the Santa Fe International Film Fest over the years. Tell me more about Ashley Browning.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley, she's just incredible. Ashley recently was a producer on Outer Range. Ashley also was a producer on The Curse, which will be coming out soon. I think they're actually having their premiere in New York like this month. Yeah, Ashley and I were Full Circle Fellows together through the Sundance Indigenous program. So we met back in 2017, and we always were just like, how did we not know each other before? Because like our Pueblos are literally like right next to each other. So it's so great to just know Ashley and as another strong Pueblo woman that's in the film industry. And yeah, she's just so awesome.
Do you do any writing exercises or any sort of meditation as far as to gain inspiration or when you become stuck in a project?
It's funny because like meditation has actually been a huge part of my writing process. I think just sitting down and breathing and like enjoying that moment of like letting the world just kind of be around you so that like my mind can open up to and focus on like this creative work that I'm doing. I also started running again. I used to be a huge runner in high school. Shout out to Capital High School XC team. So I running seems to really help helped me kind of calm down and get into the mental space too. One writing exercise that I really like to do too, and this might sound a little funny to maybe some of those non-writers out there, but I do like to think about like my character's like room, and I try to like think about what they have in their room, and like it's crazy, I know, but like you pick up on these details about these characters that you're writing about, and you get to know them better by trying to imagine their world. Even if it doesn't end up in the script, it's just like developing that relationship with these characters is really important.
Yeah, go into that a little bit. So you've got a character and they've got a whole backstory. How much do you flesh them out before you put them on the page? And do you have a whole set of separate notes?
Oh my God, Jacques, I have like you should see my Google Docs. No, I have like a million documents of just like all the different worlds that I'm developing. And like I think it's just like starting, just like getting those first words on the page, and it doesn't even have to be in this script or screenplay format. I think it's just literally typing out how you see this character, like who are their friends, what's their family life like. I really try to get to know the characters, like not just within their timeline in the script, but I really try to get to know my characters like from before, when they were kids, and even imagining them like as older adults, like what does their whole lifespan really look like, so that the story that I want to focus on can really be strong and like emphasize the values too that I'm trying to get to.
And do you do any drawing, any sort of sketching?
Not so much sketching. I really wish I was a better drawer. I'm not. But I do a lot of like in third grade, they like teach you, how to do like the webs, right? Of like if you're writing out like a I don't know, just like a building a story or an essay, it's something you practice during school. And I honestly just use that for everything too. Like draw out the worlds, draw out each character, and like what their points are, and just like um visually that helps me a lot, so that you're not just staring at like a black and white page. It's like, I'll color code things and um try to make it so, yeah, it's like interacting, more of an interaction than just me typing on a page. Yeah.
And how do you know when you're onto something good? Do you get kind of a chill or a feeling, or or are you completely taken over by it? The
Yeah.
poet William Blake said, "I do nothing. Through me, the Holy Spirit accomplishes everything."
What you just said reminds me a lot about what Rose Simpson said to her opening address to the IIA students for this semester. And she talked about like that resonance, resonating with our work, and like the strength of having that, yeah, that inner feeling of knowing that you're on the right track. I feel like I'm a pretty emotional person. So I think for me, like I guess honestly, like I end up crying even about my characters. And like I feel like I know I'm on the right track then, or even if I'm literally like laughing to myself, like if I can make those emotional waves for myself, I feel like that's where it's at.
I love that. So, what about planning and pre-production and staging all the things that you need to have ready for the day of shooting? Do you feel like you came a long way since the first film to Riverbank when it came to being prepared?
Yeah, I mean, the narrative fiction pre-production is just like so different from documentary. Breaking down the script and figuring out like, how many scenes we can shoot in a day and at a location. Do we have time for lunch, like, and figuring out like the like literally planning out the day like as close to per minute as you can, I think was something that I really kind of struggled with at first, but Riverbank really taught me a lot about that planning process. And I feel like I have a much better idea for the next time I shoot a short film or a feature, like where to start. And I'm not as like nervous about it anymore. I was really nervous during the pre-production of Riverbank and being like, oh my God, I have to call these people and get these permits and like secure location. Like it was a whole thing. And like you would think I would have had a better idea of that before, but it was one of those things I had to just do it and learn from it.
No, I think like in business or any business, movie making is very much dependent on experience. And so the only way to get experience is to do it, or you can learn about it through a mentorship. So have there
Mhm.
been, I mean, you mentioned people like Jane Myers, Rizal Benali. Have there been other mentors that you haven't mentioned that have guided you in how to do this?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know I mentioned my Saya, my grandma Barbara Gonzales. She really, when I first wrote Riverbank, she was like one of the first people to read it and give me notes and say, "Hey, like you need to look at this again." And I really appreciated my Saya for that. But Bird Running Water, Maya Austin, Adam Perone, Ian Etalei, Katie, all from Sundance Indigenous Program, like just what an amazing program and group of people. They help me out like emotionally so much too, when I get stuck or like even in the editing process, like I like constantly like send cuts to Adam and be like, "Hey, can you just like tell me like how does this feel to you?" Adam was also really instrumental in being like, "Hey, Shireen, maybe think about shaping the story the way that you shape pottery, like maybe that'll help me bridge those."
Shireen, we talked about directing the movie a bit, a little bit about producing, went into your writing process. Tell me about the music in the film and how you did that and how you made it sound so good.
Well, a lot of that credit goes to Bryson Largo. He's Dene, and he's an incredible composer. This is all original music. So proud to say that for Riverbank. Bryson really, I think, added so much to the film with this original score. Um, yeah, just so grateful for Bryson. The film, also has a color by Gabriel Mozart. He's from Taos Pueblo, and Dene, and it was also professionally sound mixed. But I the music is so special to me. Like um it's a big step up for me to have original music for composed for the film. We talked a lot about each feeling of the different scenes, the different vibes that were to go into the film that the music would help accentuate. And it was like I said, like this whole film was just such a incredible opportunity for me and learning how to direct the score too. I was just, yeah, huge learning opportunity. Really grateful for Bryson for working through me with that. It was also Bryson's first time writing an original score for a film, but he does have, orchestra experience, and yeah, he did a fantastic job.
And you had some music and radio experience before that.
I did, yeah. I used to be a music director at KDUR in Durango, Colorado. It's the community radio at Fort Lewis College. Um, which I mean, I just love Fort Lewis so much. Such an incredible school and really a safe place to like learn and develop those like media skills. I have a English communications degree from Fort Lewis. But yeah, I am also a producer for the Native Lens Project, which is a collaboration between Rocky Mountain PBS and KSUT Tribal Radio. So that's on Southern Ute land. And we provide a platform for Native and Indigenous peoples in North America to share any story that we want and they want as like individual Native filmmakers. We also provide free editing services in case filmmakers are feeling stuck and need some help to move their project forward. And we recently started partnering with Durango Independent Film Fest too to do some like media lab type of training with our filmmakers too. So yeah, Native Lens is growing and really excited to be part of the whole team and for it to be a Native led project. Um, but yeah, I guess just wanted to mention too, like, so grateful to be a Fort Lewis College alumni, also to be an II undergrad alumni. I got a cinematic arts and technology degree from IAIA, and now I'm back again for my MFA program in screenwriting. So, just for me, like school has always been super helpful, and it's really led to a lot of these opportunities for me that has led me here and gotten me fellowships and labs and met some incredible people. So yeah.
Tell me about the importance of a native-led project and what that means.
I tend to find that like when projects aren't native led but trying to tell native stories, like there's so much explanation that has to happen that's honestly just like incredibly annoying. With a native led project, you don't like necessarily have to like jump through all those hoops. Like we're coming from a place of understanding, and you know um we also like fought like internally for the right for our filmmakers to use like the PBS platform, but to still retain ownership of their films, which to me is just so important because it's just like uh us as native people sharing our stories is a huge gift, and I think that having a native led project really emphasizes the importance of that. And it we just know like there's not a lot of explanation that needs to happen, which kind of like goes back to the point for me too about like when like non-native filmmakers telling native stories, like I think that there's such great room for collaboration. But I think that it's also super important to involve like native people right from the beginning. Like do not come during post-production asking for consultation. Like hire native people above the line right away, because that's like we can tell our stories better than anyone else. So
Tell me this, why is it better or more acceptable when it's Johnny Depp playing Tonto or Scorsese directing Killers of the Flower Moon than when it's not as exciting a character or project?
I think with Scorsese, like from everything I've heard, I have yet to see the film, but like they had to backtrack a lot, and it sounds like they really worked with the community to make sure that the story that was being told was the right story, and that the community feels good about it. I think that's the most important part, is Scorsese wasn't afraid to go backwards, and Leonardo wasn't afraid to go backwards and to be like, okay, we need to listen to native people. And I think to me, like that's great collaboration. I'm not sure at what point in the process they involved everyone, but I know they had to go backwards. Like I'm pretty sure the script was written, they were like, this isn't the story that needs to be told, let's make this something that native people can be proud of. So
Yeah, I
but for
read a headline that kind of gave the credit for it to Leonardo DiCaprio, but that was probably as far as I got in that article.
yeah, we'll have to talk again more after I see the film. But with Johnny Depp, I don't know. I mean, I really like Johnny Depp too, but I don't know how like politically correct that all was, or for me, I don't know if it gets the gold star. Let's just say that. Yeah.
I mean, I guess Tonto was kind of always an exploitative character. And then when Disney goes and casts Johnny Depp as Tonto, it's maybe not. I don't know. Would that happen nowadays? I guess is the question, or was
I
that
really
something that?
hope not. Yeah, I really hope not. I hope we're in such a different place, because like it's not okay. Like I don't think it ever was okay. But I think there's so many native people that have worked so freaking hard in this industry to open up doors for all of us. And I just can't see us going backwards. I really want to see us moving forwards, and like native characters like deserve to be played by native people from those communities too.
Now, the film is called Riverbank. It's October 22nd at the Santa Fe International Film Fest. Tell me a little bit about what you'd like to achieve. You mentioned the Durango Independent Film Fest. I'm hoping it'll play there in the spring. What would make you satisfied? What would satiate you as far as the success of the film? Would you like it to be seen widely, to win an award, to be critically acclaimed? What of things like that, what would be the top of your list?
I really want all of it for Riverbank, but for me, I think the most important thing, just super honestly, is to see more Pueblo filmmakers take that chance and to write stories from a Pueblo perspective and to do it, because I think um it really, I can't even express how much Riverbank means to me, and I just know that other Pueblo storytellers and filmmakers, like I just want our Pueblo people to experience this more. Like let's go on this journey together. um and I guess from more of like a personal standpoint, like I want to get into a TV writer's room. I want to direct, I want to produce. And I know it may sound ambitious to want to do it all, but you know what? I know such powerful women like Tasba Chavez, that does do it all, like Rizal Benali that does do it all, and Shondine Tome that does do it all. And I think that um we need our teams behind us. And I think just having more friends and family to jump on these projects and
That's
help us tell these.
Tasba Chavez is of Reservation Dogs.
That's right. And of course, Erica Tremblay too. Can't forget Erica, also incredible, like writer director. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
you can also see her latest Fancy Dance at the festival next week. Everybody, this was Charine Pilar Gonzales. The film is called Riverbank. It'll be at the Santa Fe International Film Fest October 22nd at the New Mexico History Museum Auditorium. And we'll see you next week.